You've seen a coffee montage. How about some tea? So in the last couple of weeks, I finished doing the 75 hard challenge with my brother and some friends. It has been an incredible experience, tremendous changes, definitely very interesting things that I learned, things that I did not expect. Your stare at me is like so hard, bro. It's making it so much harder for me to record. Can you not stare at me?
I think it's making, it should make you.
Okay, you can sit behind the camera and I'll just pretend like I'm talking to you.
Okay.
So, this is me stepping out of my comfort zone because usually I'm on the other side of the camera and I am a natural at that. I feel great hiding behind the camera, clicking the shutter button. That's me. That's my home. That's my comfort zone. So being on this side of the camera, being on this side of the lens, it's a little bit awkward for me. It's a learning curve for sure. So now I have my lovely wife sitting behind the camera and I'm just pretending like the camera's not there until I can get used to it. But this is what I have to do. And this is one of the things that this 75 hard challenge actually has taught me. It has produced in me this understanding that if I want to do something, I'm the only one who gets to do it. I'm the only one who has to do it. I learned from the book Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins about the power of decision. He was talking about the fact that he had a revelation that in this life we really don't have to do anything. Everything comes by a choice. There's certain things that you don't have to do, but you obviously should be doing. You don't have to eat, but you understand that if you're not gonna eat for a couple days, you're probably gonna pass out and potentially perish. I learned about the power of decision. Same with this. I want to be a content creator. I love creating content. I love being creative. I love the space of being able to produce things. I have a lot of different ideas and thoughts constantly running around in my mind. I love music. So when there's music playing, I have a music video being created in my mind. I just can't help it. I've noticed from a very young age, if there's music playing, I'm looking outside or I'm looking around the room and I'm just imagining and I'm creating a scenery in my mind. I could never turn it off. I thought it was weird at first, but then I just realized it's because I love creating content. I started painting and then now it transformed into me using a camera to get my ideas out into the real world. Anyways, so the power of decision, circling back. I realized that I needed to decide to get out of my comfort zone. I started posting pretty consistently on Instagram, reels, photos, stories. I started posting. I decided that that's what I was going to do. I was going to start producing content. I wasn't just gonna dream about it. And so I started doing that. It's been tremendous. I've had a great amount of connections that blossomed out of seemingly thin air. I've had opportunities that presented themselves out of seemingly thin air again. And I realized that it's because of consistency. I decided that I was gonna be consistent in my craft. I decided I was gonna be consistent in me chasing these goals and me chasing this dream of being in content creation consistently. And from that, I've seen just opportunities sprouting, things that I could not even dream about. I noticed that around day 50 of the challenge, of me just being consistent and putting in effort every single day, no matter how little it was, no matter how big it was. There was days when I posted one story onto my Instagram and that was kind of me putting myself out there for the day. There was days when I was filming a wedding for 15 hours and that was me putting myself out there for the day. There was a range of effort. There, like I said, there was days with little, there was days with a lot, but it was every single day. From that, I got to meet some incredible people. I got to film some incredible cars, cars that I hope to attain one day. I got to meet incredible people that are just so interesting, people that I otherwise would have never gotten to know. People who are doing marketing in Dubai. I've gotten to meet a guy who is connected to one of the largest meat distributors in the States. Just the most random people that I would have never gotten to meet. So it has been an incredible journey. It has been very inspiring. I've realized that if you just put yourself out there every single day, people will notice, you will stay at the top of people's minds. If you're constantly putting yourself out there, people will remember you. And the next time that they want to do something that has anything to do remotely with you, there is a greater potential that you'll get invited. For example, if you're an aspiring DJ and you continuously put yourself out there, that you're creating music, that you're working on your craft, that you're trying to better yourself, the next time somebody's trying to throw a party, they're gonna remember like, hey, this guy Elijah has been making music. Maybe we should invite him. If you're an underground producer who is just hiding everything to himself and you're just dreaming and talking about how one day you're gonna do that, these people are gonna throw their party and they're never gonna know you existed. This person's gonna create this event, they're never even gonna know you existed. They'll find somebody else to fill that role. If you put yourself out there, opportunities will come out of that. I actually just came back from an overseas trip of creating content. It was incredible. I got to film where Tour de France is actually going to be taking place. I got to create some content at the Cannes Film Festival. These are things that I would have never imagined before this 75 hard. The word that just continues to come into my mind is consistency. If you just continue every single day to put yourself out there, something has to happen. There's just no way for you to continuously put yourself out there for nothing to happen. Even Mr. Beast talks about that. He started out incredibly slowly. He was consistent. He was seeing no growth, but he was consistent. And then one day, one of his videos blew up and people noticed him. And then now everybody knows him. You know him 1000%. If you're watching this video on YouTube, you know who Mr. Beast is. It all spanned from consistency. There's so many examples we could look at. Consistency brings growth. That's the only way it works. That's one of the things I learned in the book Atomic Habits. It's something that I learned in the book Awaken the Giant Within, is just being consistent. Pair that with creating and curating an identity for yourself, you'll become unstoppable. A great thing I learned from Awaken the Giant Within is the power of identity. The power, let me tell you a story. About 17 years ago, the doctor came to my family's home because my brother was suffering from a heart condition and he was trying to do pull-ups, and something happened to where he passed out because of a heart condition. And so the doctor came, and after the doctor was done tending to my brother, my mother asked the doctor to speak to a young me about biting my nails, because it has been going on for a while at that point. So this well-spoken, authoritative-looking doctor leans over to a little me and begins explaining to me the dangers and the detriment of biting your nails. Me growing up in Russia, you know, I'm playing outside before school, I'm playing outside during school, after school. It's pretty much all that we did. For 6 months out of the year, we played hockey. As soon as the snow melted, it got a little warmer outside. For the next 6 months, we play soccer. Every day, day in, day out, we're outside, we're running around. We had to wear suits as our uniform, so our mother would get very upset because every day we would come home and our cuffs would just be brown from dirt, so she had to wash our shirts all the time. And so the doctor began to explain to me about the parasites and the bacteria that like to dwell underneath our nails. So after he explained to me the potential dangers it had on my immune system, on my stomach, and the kind of things that can be happening, believe me, biting nails was the last thing I thought about for at least a week and a half, maybe 2. And then I got right back into it. I'm not exactly even sure how I picked up this nasty habit, but I just could not shake it all the time. And I can't even say it was like a traumatic response or like a nervous thing. Like, I just noticed that I would just always do it. Anytime my hands were free or there was a second of something like nothing happening, I found myself biting my nails. I always tried to break this habit and I just couldn't. I tried many different things throughout the years after that. There was a time when I started putting a rubber band on my wrist, and so every time I would bite my nails, I would sting myself with the rubber band. But you know, you love your dear self, so I wouldn't do it super hard because it hurts. So that didn't work. Another thing I tried, I remember my parents got me this like spicy clear nail polish. I was putting on my nails, and at first they even told me if I was to bite my nails with this special nail polish, I was gonna get my tongue electrocuted. So that didn't take long for me to find out that that was a lie. So that didn't stop me for long. And then some tremendous time later, I ended up in college in health class. And one of the assignments that we had was we were supposed to write a paper on a bad habit that each of us had and the strategy and plan that we had to ditch this bad habit. So one technique that I was trying is if I'm just consistently eating gum, then I'm not going to be biting my nails because my mouth is full and and that's that. Unfortunately, all that did was just make the whole experience taste fresh. So that didn't work either. Another thing that just consistently came up was my brother would always nag and go off on me like, stop biting your nails. And it would get annoying at times because I would go to like scratch my cheek and he would be like, Elijah, don't bite your nails. I'm like, I'm not biting my nails. And it would just get annoying. But he wanted the best for me. He wanted to help me, so he would always call me out. Anytime I would raise my hands, he would go off. I found myself just always biting my nails and I could not stop. So a pivotal moment for me was probably on day 20 of the challenge. I was reading the book Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins, plugging it. 10 out of 10 recommend. Absolutely, you should definitely read this book. Life-changing book. Simple ideas that are just so life-changing. One of the things he talked about was the importance of identity. I realized that I had always been a person who was biting his nails and was trying to stop. And a simple change that Tony recommended that completely changed everything for me was that I became not a person who bites their nails and is trying to stop, but I adopted a new identity of I'm just a person who doesn't bite their nails. In the same sense, and I know I may be oversimplifying it, that's why you should read the book, but I don't struggle with doing cocaine. I don't struggle with shoplifting. I don't struggle with violent outbursts. Not because I'm trying to stop, but that's just not who I am. I'm not a person who's addicted to cocaine and is trying to stop. I'm just a person who doesn't do cocaine. So I adopted that same identity into this. I'm not someone who's trying to stop biting their nails. I just don't do that. That's just not me. A cool thing is I always thought it was super nasty. I hated biting my nails. I was always trying to stop. I always thought it was disgusting. I always thought that it was like a sign of weakness if you're sitting there biting your nails and you just can't stop. And it's like, it just shows that you can't collect yourself. You can't just calm down no matter how nerve-wracking the situation is or anxiety-inducing or high stakes. You should just be able to control your emotions, collect yourself, and just be present in the moment, be mature. That's what I thought. And so for me, it was just always, it bugged me that I could not stop. And so with this new identity of just being a person that does not bite their nails, it's been like 2 months now, maybe even a little over 2 months. Not a single time since that day I have bit my nails. To be honest, it's not even like I'm sitting there and like, oh, I can't bite my nails. Oh, I'm not a person who bites their nails. Oh, I gotta hide my fingers so I don't accidentally. It's weird because it's not, somehow with adopting this new identity, I lost the, what is that called? Second nature? Doing it without thinking. Like the force of habit. I just decided that I'm not somebody who does that anymore. And that's just been incredible. It unlocked something for me in my life, a new perspective about things. And I'm just now trying to translate that into the rest of my life, where even with content creation, I'm very comfortable being on the other side of the camera. I love doing photos. I love doing photo shoots. I love but being on this side of the camera, I understand is my bigger goal. I love content creation, and I understand that at a certain point, I had to step over myself. I had to step over my comfort zone of posting Instagram Reels and only Instagram Stories. I had to step over into this long-form content because this is something that I always wanted to do. And unfortunately, I always put it off, and I always waited for something to happen or something to fall into place. It's as if I was waiting for this completed video to appear on my desktop so I can just hit upload. Obviously, life doesn't work like that. So with the power of decision that I realized, we decided that for the next 77 days, we will be posting one video every Tuesday onto YouTube, which will amount to 10 videos. Several goals and expectations I have from this. Obviously, I'll continue to post throughout the week onto my Instagram, so feel free to check that out. And what I'm expecting from this is that it's gonna build a consistency in me. It's gonna help me to become more creative, because obviously long form content, it derives of different ideas, it derives of a different flow rather than an Instagram reel per se. It's gonna force me to expand on my ideas and on my thoughts. It's gonna force my scripts to look very different. And another thing I'm expecting is that I wanna be comfortable in front of a camera. I remember I had a few times in my life where somebody else was recording. I just felt so comfortable in front of the camera, and I looked back at those videos and I'm like, man, like, I wish I could just do that on command. I wish I could just always be that comfortable. And this video has been taking me forever to film because I lose my train of thought and it just gets super awkward. This time what's really helping me is I realized that it's very difficult for me to film myself by myself. I'm a very social person. For me to imagine you watching this video right now, it's taking a tremendous effort. I cannot be by myself. I cannot be lonely. I hate it. I want to create content. I want to better my content. I want to up my game, up my skills. This is going to force me to dive deeper. It's going to help me to be able to dive deeper into DaVinci and editing. A lot of the ideas for content that I've been learning is more long form content that doesn't really go or fit on Instagram. This is gonna unlock a whole new world for me. I'm excited to see where this goes. Welcome to my very first video. I hope you enjoy. Leave a comment about things that I could do better because I know there's a bunch. I'm excited, and I'll see you next Tuesday. God bless, don't stress.